Okay. Well, good morning. Clearly not quite awake yet. This is the morning sequence, meaning this is the Julie just got out of bed sequence. Um, you could also try some of these movements in bed, and it really depends on any number of factors. But if my body is just really resistant to getting out of bed, I'll start these movements in bed. Um, yeah, we'll start them in bed. So if you find yourself in that same position, feel free. You can start them in bed. What I'll tell you is no matter how hard your mattress is, it doesn't give you as much reference to gravity as floor. So it's always good to start your movements, small movements in bed, and then get out of bed and then reference the floor to wake yourself up. Okay, I'm going to push this back. So just a little morning sequence to begin to open up fascia, open up joints, and get your brain um, ready to receive the world. Okay, so start on your back body and let yourself gently receive ground. You might be able to tell that was pretty tender for me. Now the other option here is to turn off the light. I have to keep it on so that you guys can see me. But to be honest, I usually do this without the light on at all, which is also so nice. So I'm just going to bring myself into yield here, which means I'm going to notice what parts of me are touching the ground and how ground is coming up to meet me. And you'll noticing that my breath shifts a little bit. As my breath moves, my relationship with ground moves, and I'm just tracking that. So just feeling my weightedness into ground, and I might make some micro movements here, pressing just different parts of my body. If I just press the feet, that might send my weight a little bit more into my low back. And I might move my arms just a little bit. Soft elbows, soft wrists, just letting the fingertips kind of touch. But as you'll notice, I might be wagging my tail left to right, and my arms might be up, but I'm soft elbows, soft wrists, so I can feel my shoulder blades. I can feel my shoulder blades. As I wag my tail, I can kind of feel what I would call the steering wheel up here in your chest. I can feel that rotate, the shoulder blades rotate around the heart. I can feel the ribs of the shoulder blades, just getting to know that. And you'll notice my head is slightly moving left to right now. For me, especially in the days of COVID, my neck and shoulders are feeling really tight. And so I'm really gentle with how I begin to let my head, I'm cautious almost. And so I'm noticing that. Then take my ponytail out so I can feel my whole weight at the back of my head. And as my tail wags and my chest, back of shoulders move, my head is just going to nod a little bit left to right. You can bring those hands down at any time to let them rest so that they're in that Shavasana shape. So Still just wagging the tail, feeling the weight of the sacrum, letting the spine receive this movement and the ribs receive this movement. So there's a little bit of condensing on one side of the ribs and a little bit of expansion between the rib cage on the other. And then letting that come to stillness. I'm going to take a few breaths here and just notice what might have shifted, how much I'm able to actually receive that inhalation, how much I'm able to actually release into the exhalation, and then back into that yield. And then I'm just going to begin to gently push into the feet, and that's going to send my energy towards my head. That energy will move up through the shoulders, up through the head, and it'll rebound back down. And I can just allow myself to be that jello jiggler. Head to tail, tail to head. I'm not making this movement really big intentionally, so there's no tail moving into ground. It's just the push into the feet traveling through the soft organs, soft tissues, weighted bones even receiving that reverberation from ground. Soft, watery brain. And you'll notice just naturally I let the breath move. There's points where I take in longer inhalations and exhalations. That's just honestly as I can take them. And doing a lot of breathing out through the mouth. I even inhale through the mouth, partially in the mornings. Hands can either be on the body, or hands can be on the floor. It's nice to have the hands on the body. Just a reference for how you're receiving the movement and how you're receiving breath. And when I'm ready, I'm going to let this movement come to stillness. And I'm going to notice yet again how that vibration travels. Often there's a little bit of tingling through the body. I'm going to let this push into the feet now grow a little bit so that I can actually let the tail move. So actually, I'm going to ask you to take the hands and place them on the pelvis and let the tail move toward the head. And then releasing the tail into the ground. And then the tail will move toward the head, and there's a softness in the belly. I can palpate the belly a little bit here. And then the tail will move into the ground, and it's bringing the spine with it. I'm doing a lot of touching, as you can tell. I'm really sensing that line of energy up through the spine and how the internal structures, the organs, the digestive tubing, are receiving the breath, but also just moving with this movement, being with this movement. I'm going to let that come to stillness and notice in this morning practice, just natural things happen for me. So that just turned into a wiggle and a wag again. I'm going to let the hands move each hip point. So what I'm doing here is pressing the weight into the right hand, and that's moving the right hip point. And then I'm pressing the weight into the left, right hand, and massages into the left hip point, and then releases, and it moves into the right hand. And of course, the legs are just moving with this movement. There's a lot of sensation or feedback of the sacrum into the ground here, and just a lot of softness in my abdomen, and a lot of softness but gentle pressure through the hands. You can feel both sides of the pelvis feeding into the groin. That feels really yummy. I'm using touch and pressure here through the hands to really awaken the tissues and help aid my felt sense. And then I'm going to let that rest. So I'm still feeling quite a bit of congestion here through my shoulders, throat, and neck. And so I want to then switch this movement to this area. And I'm going to take the hands onto the chest area, hand over hand, and I'm just going to begin with that left elbow. Right elbow is going to come down as left elbow comes above. Now, when I say that, it's not really a movement of the elbows. I'm moving this disc of the sternum, this joint space of the sternum and the clavicle. You could even say I'm moving the heart within the lungs, and the ribs are moving with. And it happens that these arm buds are moving with it. And then I'm going to release that and come back to center. I'm going to move the center of me just like I did the sacrum and the pelvis to the other side, which will result in the right elbow up and the left elbow down. And just taking this side to side. The head is heavy, receiving the movement. It's not moving me. I'm not trying to get any articulation there. It's just responding to. So notice that the tail moves, but with limited range, because the axis here is actually my sternoclavicle joint. And the hands don't have to press a whole lot. It's just as if they're moving the skin along the ribs. Okay, just the skin over the bone, so I can maybe make this a little softer. And let that come to stillness. I'm going to take these arms and cross them. And I'm just going to let the weight of the arms drop for a second. And I'm going to breathe into those back ribs. Just feeling those back lobe of the lungs, back of those ribs. Moving with the breath. Now, I'm going to make small circles here. The weight is shifting side to side. There's a little bit of a push through this right foot, and it's sending me to roll the tissues to the left side ribs, and then I'm sort of carving out with these elbows so that sends me to the right ribs, and so if I imagined that these elbows are sort of like, a tail that's wagging here. It's the stir of the spine here. If I go in one direction, then I'm going to go in the other, and actually I'm going to undo my cross and take this in the opposite direction. And I just did that for the reason that I'm a little bit hypermobile, so you don't have to do that. I'm responding to my body. You could wait and undo your cross at a different time, but I did not like my shoulders moving with that much rotation, with that much mobility in that direction. I'm taking this one, I'm stirring in the opposite direction, so just notice what your body needs. It actually feels better in this direction, so I'm responding to that. And then as you're ready, let that come to stillness. Undo your arms, maybe you just let the hands flow across the body. And the forearms fill up with earth and the wrists. Notice how you're meeting earth now. I'm going to give a little bit of nestling in as you push the feet, a lift of the tail, nestling in of those shoulders into ground. That feels really open and good to me. Okay. Now we have the head. So I'm going to move my head through weight shift here so that I can just feel the weight shift to the back of my right occipital lobe. It's filling up with earth. It's moving to the side, right side of my skull. Noticing as I do that, and I can touch here this SC or SMC, sternomastoid, muscle, the muscle that goes down from the side of your neck, your jaw, into the clavicle. And then as I'm ready, I'm going to let the weight shift. It's going to fill up towards the center. I'm touching the back of the head. I'm kind of using soft fingertips, nails, feeling the back of the skull as it meets the ground. And then the left side of the brain is going to shift, watery brain, and fill up the back of the skull. Again, I can feel this on the right side now, opening up. It's as if I have almost gills here on the right side of my neck that are opening up to receive space. You can use your fingertips to really massage that brain stem in the back and that C1, C2. It's not even a massage for me. I'm going to tell you, it's barely fingertips. And then as I'm ready, I'm going to let the right side fill up and let that come back to center. And I'm just going to take that side to side weight of the head shift, opening up what I'll call the gills of the neck. And I'm using the back of the hand. I'm not really massaging. I'm just using the back of the hand, soft touch here, to allow for that opening. Breathing into the sides of the neck. And you just may notice the desire to swallow. Please follow that desire to swallow. Or maybe a desire to kind of suck the tongue to the roof of the mouth. Follow that desire as well. It's all part of opening up the head, the neck, the mouth, the throat, the soft tissue. There's so much. A lot of us clench our jaws. I'm still taking those long, slow inhalations and exhalations, but they're natural. They're coming as they need to come. They're more like sighs, unforced, natural sighs. As I'm touching, I'm just kind of feeling where the breath is traveling and where I might feel more restriction or still some gripping. For me, this is a really gentle place to open up. I'm taking my time here. Okay. I'm going to let this be the first level of meditation that you get here, somatization. But we could take this many places, and I want you to notice where you want to take this. So an option might be that now I want to bring knees into chest, which actually is the option I would take right now. But you also might be interested in, and I'll let you explore this on your own, what windshield wipers might be like. But I'm really letting my feet, the weight of the feet, just like I did in the back of the head, guide that. All right. That is my beginning of mindful movement for the morning for you. And as you can see, these are all movements that you could do in your bed. But I'll say it again. You can also do them once you get out of bed on the ground. And that is another level of yielding. Okay? Thank you so much for joining me for this small little bitty morning practice. I'll probably spend another hour waking my body up. And I encourage you to just listen and respond and do the same with all the surfaces of your body this morning. Thank you. Bye.